Man, look at me. I'm like the thinker if the thinker was a really badass dwarf. Hey everybody, it's Steamboat 28. We're back. We're going to talk about emotions this time. This is part 2 of our Oh My God, I'm Stressed video series in Armchair Theology. It's a little different from the usual fare, but we're doing it anyhow, and you can suck it because it's important. I'd like to talk to you guys about the nature of emotions now, and how emotions work. Because a lot of times we let our emotions stress us. We let our emotions like wig us out and like make us go bananas. And our emotions can react to stress, or our emotions can cause stress. And as we talked about in the last video, stress is no bueno. It's a natural part of your life. You're going to go through it, but it's not good to keep it around. So with stress, I want to go through, we talked about stress. With emotions, I want to go through and talk with you guys about some of the stuff that I've learned in my 32 years on this screaming blue death marble hurtling through the sky at ludicrous speeds around a giant ball of fire in the inky blackness of the great void of space. Because I have had a lot of emotions to deal with. Some people have a great deal of emotion and they can't do it, and sometimes I feel like I'm in a glass case of it, but it's important to know how to deal with your emotion. As someone who suffers from an overabundance of emotion about just about every issue, I feel like this is something that we should talk about. What you need to understand first about your emotions is that they are not, we call them moods, and they're part filter and part tool. Like, you know, the 3D glasses where you got the red lens on one side and the blue lens on the other, and the old style ones, and they like make the stuff pop out from the page. Well, you know, what happens is the red one blocks out a certain wavelength of light, and the blue one blocks out a certain wavelength, and they only let you see certain things. If you let your emotions control you, if you let your emotions take control of who you are, if you let your emotions take control of your actions, if you let them color your thoughts, then what you're doing is putting on a pair of glasses. When I get mad, I see red. That's one of the things that people say a lot. It's a phrase that's come up a lot, but it's really appropriate in this example because when I'm angry, if I let my anger overtake me, everything I see will make me more angry. If I'm jealous, everything that I see will make me more jealous if I allow that jealousy to take over. And that's when it becomes like a filter, and we don't want that. That's bad for us. We really don't want that. So what we want instead, we want to use our emotions for their intended purpose. Now, what is this intended purpose, you ask? Well, let's go way back to the caveman days and do some absolutely pure conjecture. I am not an anthropologist. I am not an archaeologist. I am not a sociologist. I am a guy with a beard and a webcam, okay? This is not scientific. Okay, there's been no peer reviews on this. Take it as you will. Take it with a grain of salt. Discuss it with a scientist that knows what's going on. But if we go all the way back to herpy-derpy caveman days, what we find are that man has had emotions for, you know, we're just going to assume we've always had emotions, right? So if you are Grog and your buddy Ugg is wandering by and your buddy Ugg kicks you in the shin and it makes you angry, well, he has caused damage to your person. That pain response now is coupled with an anger response too. The pain response tells you your body is in danger. The anger response tells you hurt what put you in danger. Right? I mean, do we not want to swing at somebody sometimes? Okay, that happens. The sadness, I can't really explain really well, but anger makes a lot of sense. Fear is so super acceptable. So fear is like your body's way of keeping itself alive. Fear has a purpose. Fear has a very good purpose. But if you stay afraid all the time, you're going to have a bad time, okay? It's going to be rough on you. If you have anxiety, you probably know exactly what I'm talking about, and it probably makes your life a little bit miserable from time to time. That's probably a massive understatement. But That's what they're for. They're warning lights. They're indicator lights inside your brain. They're a tool, right? I mean, when we get angry, we feel a little stronger. We get that adrenaline pumping, you know. Well, for guys at least. I don't know how girls are when they get angry. I've seen girls sit and stew for a while, and I don't understand them. I'm not trying to make a blanket generalization. I'm really not. I'm just personally, from my experience, I'm a guy, so I'm speaking from my personal experience. I feel, the whole adrenaline rush. I feel the need to like smash things. To manage my stress when I worked as a telemarketer, which is the single most stressful job I've ever had in my life. I used to go and buy little figurines at the Dollar Tree. I would spend like half a paycheck on little bitty figurines from the Dollar Tree. I made sure they had faces. I made sure they were like little like ceramic men and women or little ceramic bunnies or whatever, and I would buy a bunch of them, and I had a hammer. And I would go outside and I would name these things my troubles. This is for the boss that keeps making me stay late, and I would smash it. And, so on and so forth. This is for the car door that wouldn't shut right, and I'd smash it. And it's not the best way to handle your problems. It's not. I'm not going to suggest that to you. But it was what I had at the time, and it just kind of, to me, it illustrates the fact that some emotions change, what you're doing. You have the fight or flight response, right? Fight or flight. When you're afraid, you're going to run away from stuff a little more. It's good to be afraid. It's good to have fear. Fear is important. Keeps you alive. They're like your superpowers, right? All of these emotions are your superpowers, and the chair keeps eating my hair. And so it's cool. It's cool to have emotions, right? And they're just you have to rule over them instead of allowing them to rule you. If you were riding in a chariot or a stagecoach, you're still going to want to steer the horses. Because if you don't, and you let the horses choose where to go, you're going to wind up in a bad place. And emotion works the same way. If you let emotion run the show, you're going to end up in a bad place. You're going to be more afraid. You're going to be more sad. You're going to be more worried. You're going to be more, all of this stuff that you really like to an extreme that you shouldn't be. And it's going to hurt you. You're going to end up in a place where you don't mean to be. You're going to say things you don't mean to say. You're going to hurt people you don't mean to hurt. And it's hard. It's really hard. So what you need to do is just get control. Control those emotions. Steer them where you want them to go. Now when I'm angry, today specifically, I have been very sad. I have been very angry. I have been absolutely livid. I have broken down and cried a few times. I'm not going to tell you why. It's a personal issue. But today has been, my depression has kicked me in the balls, and some other stuff that I've had going on in my life is just really just like hammered my nuts up into my chest cavity, and it's just not been cool. So it's been a really rough day. So instead of giving into that, instead of wallowing in self-pity, instead of sitting around doing nothing, I made a video. I'm pouring all of my sad and all of my angry into this video so that other people know what to do with their sad and their angry. Earlier I cleaned a little bit, just to get some of the energy out, some of the nervous energy out. And we can take control of our emotions in a lot of ways. And again, this is something we'll touch on in the meditation section in the next video. It should be the next video. But right now, I just want you to know that you being in control of your emotions is good. Your emotions being in control of you, that's what's bad. So, now that we know that, we can look at some examples of how to take control of our emotions. There's a 4-step process that I kind of go through now. I got the idea from Jiddu Krishnamurti in his book, Freedom from the Known. He talks about this kind of thing a lot. And so one of the things that I want to explain to you is this 4-step process that I use. The first thing I do is I detach from the emotion. And that may not seem really healthy, but along with the other 3 steps, it is pretty good. So the first thing I do today, like when I was sad, I was like, stop. Why are you sad? Let's just take a step back. Just pretend that your sadness is like in your head and just take a step back and leave it where it is, right? Just pluck it right out of your head and look at it. Just step back and see the big picture, right? Why am I sad? What made me sad? Why did I choose to react this way? Because a lot of times people don't understand things about emotions. We'll talk about that in just a moment, but remind me, we'll get to it. But think about it. Think, why am I sad? What made me sad? Who made me sad? Why did I allow it to make me sad? Why did I let this person's words make me angry? Why am I afraid right now? Is it because of the clown? Is it because of the situation? Is it because of both? Is it because I have a rent bill that's past due? What's going on? Why am I afraid? Okay, that's the detachment phase. We detach from that. We say, stop, wait, why? Let's look at the big picture. Okay? That's also, we feel into the examination phase. We start to, once we step back and detach ourselves from the emotion at hand, we turn it over and we look at it. And we think, okay, where did this come from? Why is it here? When will it stop? What would make it feel better? What is going on right now? Where am I at in my emotional state? You stop and you look at it. You examine your feelings. You examine your emotions. And you think about it. And then when we get to the next phase, the understanding phase, that's when you take your examinations and you plug in reason and memory and stuff to them. Oh, I know why I'm angry. I'm angry because this reminds me of a time that someone hurt me in the past. Or I'm sad because this song reminds me of a girl that I used to know who was a little mean to me. Or maybe I was mean to her. Okay, well now we understand where that's coming from. Now we understand why Mitchell flips tables and throws chairs when he smells love spell. We understand now, you know. And then, and this is the hardest part, comes the release phase. This is the final phase of dealing with your emotions, in my opinion, and it's not always immediately grouped with the other three. I have told people on many occasions, especially at funerals, if you need to be sad, which you do, it's healthy for you to be sad. It's very, very unhealthy for you to suppress your emotions. You need to let them out. You need to release them into the world so that they don't gunk up your plumbing and, make you have an aneurysm or something like that. Or slowly fester away in your innards. So that's what you need to do. You need to release them. But I tell them, if you need to be sad, you be as sad for as long as you need to be. But the moment that you stop needing to be sad and you start wanting to be sad, that's when you stop. That's that control. That's you exerting control over your emotion. When the need to be upset, when the need to be angry, when the need to be jealous stops, and all you're left with is the want to be angry, the want to be jealous, the want to be worried, that's when you need to stop feeling those emotions. And that's when you need to release them. So in this example, if we're using the sadness, oh, well, I'm sad because this song reminds me of this person that I miss. Okay, well, fine. What I'm going to do is I'm going to be sad for the length of the song, and maybe the silence in between. But as soon as the next set comes on, as soon as the next track plays on my MP3 player, I'm going to let that go. Because I've been sad, I've taken it in, I've experienced this emotion, which actually should be the fifth step. I'm going to write that in my notes right now. Detachment, examination, understanding, experience, then release. Because it's important to experience your emotions. You kind of just need to, and some people say, well, no. I dive right in. If I'm sad, a lot of people will if sadness is a pool, like a swimming pool, or anger is a swimming pool, they'll just sit with their little floaties on the top and just try to make it until the water drains out. I don't. I dive to the bottom, straight down to the bottom every single time, and I pull a plug. Yeah, I'm gonna be real sad, real bad for a few minutes, or a few hours, or a few days, or a few weeks. But I pulled that plug. I'm gonna experience it while it lasts, while it's necessary, while I need it to process what I'm processing. And the moment I no longer need its help to process, the moment I no longer need the catharsis of crying, the catharsis of being angry, the stress relief of, any of those emotions. The moment I no longer need them, I stop experiencing and then I release them. So, detachment, examination, understanding, experience, and release. Detach yourself from your emotion, from your situation long enough to examine what you're feeling. Understand why you feel it. Experience it in the fullest in the moment, and then release it when its time has passed. It's just like a song on the radio. You listen to the song for as long as it lasts, and then you let it go. It's gone. If you want to play it again, that's your business, but it's not going to make it a better song. It's not going to make your drive any more enjoyable. Just let the next one flow through. And that's how I deal with emotions. If you have questions, comments, concerns, drop them below. I'll leave a link. I'm pretty easy to get a hold of. Drop something, in the comments. I may not answer every single comment, but if I'll drop something down there in the info box where you can get in touch with me. If you need something, give a yell, talk to me or someone that you care about, someone that you trust. If you don't have anybody like that, or if it's a deeper problem than that, then find a therapist or a counselor, and they can help you too. Because I care about you, and I want you to be cool. Right? Right. Thanks.